guys, this is Ruthie Pople with the Pople Backyard Farm. I have my mom, who is Rose Young, on the phone with me, and she's going to talk to us today about a divine appointment. I'm very sorry to anyone that just tuned in and that kind of cut off on my end, but I guess it was still running on your end. So these live broadcasts are going to take me a little bit to get used to, but I will be trying to broadcast live as much as I can. So if you're on when I'm on, hop in and say hi. Okay, so tell me, let's start over for the beginning. Let's you're gonna share mom, what's the story today?
Okay, I was going to tell you how I met my future husband.
Okay.
It was by a divine appointment. And what happened was I went to a swimming pool that I always used to go to with my best friend, and her aunt. And we were there swimming, and here comes along this one very young man. I was 13, he was 14, and he had blonde hair, and he came along, and a couple times he pulled our legs out from under us, so that we went under the water, which is called ducking, yes. And so he did that to us several times, and then he talked to my girlfriend, and then he talked to her aunt, and then he talked to me. We were talking for a long time. He asked me my name and where I lived. He lived all about me, and I told him I lived, and he knew right where the area was where I lived. But I lived on one side of town, and he lived on the other side of town. There was no good and bad side. It was just both different sides. Mm-hmm. And so I lived on one side, and he lived on the other. And so we had never met before. And so we talked, and I told him my name, and he told me his name. And we talked for a long time about, where we lived, and he told me where he lived, but I wasn't aware of that area. I had never been there, and he knew all about my area, where I lived. And so he talked to me, and he asked me if he could come see me sometime. And I said, yeah, that'd be nice. So that was, like I said, he was 14 years old. I was 13 years old. And we swam in that swimming pool. It's a brand new swimming pool in Coleman Park in Memphis, Pennsylvania. So anyway, after that, we got out of the pool, and we went home, and he went home with his parents. His parents were telling him that they were ready to leave, and so he had to get out of the pool and get dried off and get ready to go home. And so the next day, he comes pedaling down on his bicycle.
Before you go there, tell what happened the night before.
Oh yeah, that night that we met, it was June 25th, 1944, and we had a terrible storm. Big, huge trees that fell right over, and they fell over. When they fell over, their roots were sticking out at the bottom, and a huge tree would be there. There was one of these trees right across the street from where I lived. It was laying right there. And the roots were out and everything. It was just almost like it was pulled out by the roots. And so I got dressed in the morning, went over, was going to go get to my girlfriend, and she wasn't allowed to come out because she had some housework to do. Mm-hmm. The other days we all helped do the housework at home. And so she had that. And so I came back out. I was finished with mine. So I came back out, and I'm walking up the street, and here comes this guy on a bicycle with his best friend on the handlebars. He came over and he said to me, "Are you Ruth?" And I said, "Yes. My real name is Ruth, and I use the name Rose Young."
Mm-hmm. I was named after my mom, by the way.
Ruth named after me. And so he said, so he was all happy, and he came to see me after that. And we talked a little bit. That was early in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And then we talked a little bit, and he came to see me every night after he was finished with his work. He was only 14, but he and his father were helping his uncle build some fabulous type homes, really, really expensive homes. And they were building those. And so he only got out of work from finishing it back all day long carrying rocks and whatever they were doing to build these homes. And then he would come to see me, and we would sit on my front porch on the glider until 11 o'clock, and then my mother would knock on the window, and I had to go back in. And we would just sit on the porch and talk. And that was my relationship with my husband. And it was 5.5 years later we married, and we were married 59.5 years. And he went to be with the Lord because he had got sick and he was in the hospital. And they told me that he was going to die. And I said, who told you that? He said, the Lord. And there was
I didn't know that.
What's that?
I didn't know that he felt like the Lord told him he was going to pass away.
He said, I'm going to die. And I said, well, who told you that? He said, the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
When he was sick, his last 2 days that he was alive, there was an angel that was standing, and other people saw it. Besides, people saw it. There was an angel standing near his head on his right side.
I saw the angel. I did when my father was passing away. He couldn't really communicate because he had gotten staph infection from probably the nursing home that he had to stay at just for a few weeks for something minor. And what happened was, it was funny because people flew in from all over. Well, I shouldn't say flew in from all over the country. We all flew. Some people had to fly in to see Dad because he had 7 kids. But it was funny because it was interesting because some of us, when we were alone with Dad, we all sang the same song, which is Jesus loves me, this I know. I sang it to him, and I didn't know other people sang it to him. But the entire time that he was there, I didn't, how do I say it? I felt like there was an angel standing right next to him, waiting for him to say goodbye to all his kids. That's how.
People said they saw this angel.
Mm-hmm.
Several people that were not together, they saw the angel as he was standing right near his right head, and he was sitting laying there. And then my 2 young other.
Well, Mama, let me interrupt and say this. Mom and Dad had 7 kids, but then they had 2 of their grandchildren live with them, with my sister and her husband, like the entire time they were married. And because my mom and Dad had this huge house, they had 2 kitchens, 2, like 5 bedrooms. They had this probably 3 or 4 living rooms. I mean, their house was huge. So my sister and her husband lived there. They had like their whole house. Mom and Dad had their whole house, but it was all one big house. But anyway, what happened was there was Brandon and Billy were almost like in the Bible, like Joseph had Manasseh and Ephraim. They were like almost like their kids, but they were my sister's kids. So they were very close with my dad because they grew up in the same home. I mean, they their entire time they grew up, they lived with Mom and Dad. But Dad even had got to say goodbye to those boys before he passed away.
Everybody came to see him, and these 2 boys were working, and they couldn't, but they came to see him. And right after that, within an hour or so, he went to heaven.
Well, it was weird. The boys came back and told us because I think they were, they hurt them to say goodbye to Dad because they were the youngest, the youngest kids, so to speak. And they said that when he actually died, I know it sounds funny, it wasn't raining or nothing, but there was like a crack of thunder, all kinds of stuff. Remember that? The 2 boys said.
No airplanes in the area, nothing in the area. But when he left, both boys heard it, when he left, it was almost as if he banged into the window, and they had banged sound.
Well, I thought they told me there was like a big crack of thunder.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, I guess.
That's what they said. There was a big crack. But, my dad was a really godly man. He raised 7 kids. He used to bring other kids into our home to help them. He was a businessman that helped a lot of people in his life. My daddy was a businessman. He wasn't a preacher. But what he did was he was like the boss, and not only did he help his own children, but he helped other people's kids, even letting people move in with our family, taking them on like they were his own. So, but we're going to get into more of that later because today we're focusing on the divine appointment, how this all came into being with my mom and dad coming together. They saw each other at a swimming pool. They never saw each other dry. That it was, you know, a miracle how they kind of got together and met at this little swimming hole, and so it was kind of a neat little thing, wasn't it? And you know, this big storm, and Dad said his mom. I don't think he said his parents didn't usually drive him to the swimming hole, but I think that day they did. You know. Yeah, so it was like a spot that he probably. So you said he didn't go there. I knew that Daddy had something that it wasn't like a place that he would have. It wasn't like they were there every day. You know what I mean? It was like an unusual situation. So
very unusual, and it was very unusual that we met, and that's how we met, and then we started seeing each other. And like I said, I was 13 years old, he was 14 years old, and we saw each other for 5.5 years. We dated, and then we were old enough to get married and finish school. We wanted us to finish school, of course, and he was a year ahead of me. So he finished, and then he went in the service in the Air Force for a while. But then we got married, and we were married 9.5 years, and we had 7 children.
Yay! Yeah, that's the end of the story for today. Guys, like, subscribe. If you have any questions for Rose, just you can write them down, and I'll tell her. And the other thing too, and she'll probably be looking at these videos too. The other thing, you'll look at the video right later too if there's questions for you.
Yes.
And then the other thing too I was going to say was stay tuned for the next video. I have a video coming up. We're going to be doing more and more live broadcasts. I have a video coming up about my hair, and to say a nice hi to the people that did my hair. And so, we got more farming, chicks, and all that stuff. So, this is the story of how God brought together a girl from the suburbs, a boyfriend of the farming, and how it all kind of works and comes together. So, we want to share all of our life with you, the people that are around us as well. And we'll want to share with you guys, with our friends too, so that they can watch your channels and all that too. So, and let's leave this on the final note. Everybody make sure you tune in on Shout Out Fridays. And that way we're all together as one big family as well. So like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much, Mom. Stay on the phone. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Okay. Bye-bye, guys. God bless.
Bye-bye, everybody.